Hey BookTube, it's Gabby and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am back in my apartment and I am so excited because I planned out my month in BookTube. And I've only been on here for a few weeks, but I haven't done as many reviews as I would like to do, so that's what I'm going to focus on this month. And while I've been on BookTube, I've noticed that kind of the same books circle around. So with my reviews, I'm going to be focusing on providing recommendations of books that you maybe haven't heard of, or authors you haven't heard of, or reading just different types of books in order to expand your horizons during quarantine. With that being said, today's video is going to be 7 books that I recommend that have under 10,000 reviews on Goodreads. For those of you who don't know, Goodreads is a social media app that you can use to track your books, rate your books, review your books, and kind of also see what other people are reading, rating, and reviewing. And you can also get recommendations from it, connect with authors on it, all these good stuff. So I highly recommend joining Goodreads if you haven't yet, but I know a lot of people on BookTube already know what it is. And just to give you a perspective on how little 10,000 reviews on Goodreads is, here are a few popular books that I know you know and how many reviews they have. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone has 6.5 million ratings. The Hunger Games has 6 million ratings, and The Perks of Being a Wallflower has 1.2 million ratings. So yeah, now hopefully you kind of have an idea of how little 10,000 are, but these 7 books I have read at some point over the last 3 years and enjoyed them to various degrees, and I just want to share them with you. I figure probably not a lot of you have even heard of these books or hopefully have not read them all, so you get something from this video, but let's get into it. The first book I'm going to talk about is The Impossible Fortress. And I found this book from the Book of the Month Club. So The Impossible Fortress is set in the 1980s, so it's got that super nostalgic video games, pop culture vibes to it. And it's about a 14-year-old boy named Billy and his 2 best friends. And they discover that the new issue of Playboy has Vanna White in it. Vanna White is all the rage, so these 3 boys decide that they need a copy of this Playboy magazine. So the boys come up with this elaborate heist in order to pull off getting this issue of Playboy. And that involves Billy seducing the store owner's daughter. However, Billy loves to code and he makes little games on his laptop. And he discovers when trying to seduce the store owner's daughter that she is brilliant and a really good coder, and he starts to fall in love with her. So the story is about this heist and Billy's internal debate of being in love with this girl but also wanting to help his friends, and it is just a really cute book. Also, I'm an engineer, so all of the coding and the video games was super cute to me. The 1980s setting was super nostalgic, even though I wasn't a part of it, obviously, but it was very fun to kind of read about everything going on in that time. And so yeah, it's just about a boy and his first love, but also his friends and computer games. And if this sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. It's super sweet, major good vibes, and yeah. I rated this one 5 out of 5 stars, and it was my first book of the month book that I had read, so it was a really good first one. And this one has 8,000 ratings on Goodreads with an average star rating of 3.74. So it isn't underrated per se, it's just not that many of people have read it. And that's kind of the theme with these books, is they have pretty good overall ratings, it's just not that many people have rated them. The next book is Rock by Anyta Sunday. And this book is a book that I came across on Chandler's YouTube channel, and I will link that down below. So I know this one has been introduced on BookTube before, but I wanted to share it again. This is a male-male romance kind of drama book, and it centers around a boy named Cooper whose parents are going through a divorce, and the other woman that his dad has been with has a son, and Cooper is intrigued by this son. And so this book is about Cooper battling his sexuality, battling the fact that he wants his family to be perfect, but there's also this new family and this new boy. And it really just goes through Cooper kind of growing up and everything that happens. and I really liked it. It is a little bit smutty, so if you are not into that, then don't read this. But I am into that, and it was really good. And the title is Rock because we're following Cooper's transitions through his life, and he kind of has different transitions that follow the different types of rocks. And so basically it's just kind of a dramatic male-male romance with a little bit smut. So if you like that like I do, then I highly recommend. This one has about 5,500 ratings on Goodreads, and its average rating is 4.19, so pretty high. I think a lot of people like this book like me, and I did rate it 5 stars too. I really liked this book, and it is included on Kindle Unlimited if you have that, which means you could just read it for free, which is fantastic. It's an enemies to lovers, basically, if you like that trope. If not, stay away. Read this book. All right, my third book is The Mystery of Alice by Lee Bacon. And I'm just gonna preface this one by saying this is only on Audible. It is an Audible book that I listened to. It was included with Audible Originals where you get to pick 2 per month. And so if you don't have Audible, maybe don't get your hopes up about this one, but I think it is worth checking out even if you don't. My mom actually recommended this one to me, so that's where that comes from. I haven't really talked about it before, but my mom reads a ton, and I grew up seeing her read, and that's kind of the reason why I read so much now. And we do share a lot of what kind of books we read and always share what books we're reading with each other. And so this is one that I got from her. This book is about a 13-year-old girl named Emily, and she's basically been given the chance of a lifetime, which is a full scholarship to this private institution. And in order to get the scholarship and get into the institution, she has to pass this test. Well, the test is super weird with locked doors and strange things and a secret society watching her. And while she's kind of navigating through this, she meets another girl, and that girl's name is Alice. And Alice is super mysterious. She goes missing, and everything seems like it's going to be ruined for Emily. And so this is kind of following the mystery of the school and the secret society and who this Alice girl is. And there's so many twists and there's so many turns, and the beginning is very much reminiscent of the Mysterious Benedict Society. So if you've read that with that unconventional testing in the beginning, this is very similar. And so I love that book. So this was very exciting to kind of go through another story like that. But yeah, it's super short. It's an Audible original, so it's not that long. And it's a very toned down mystery with these hints of secret societies and things like that. So it's definitely a very fun, mysterious read, pretty light, even though it's kind of a strange topic. But just a very fun mystery read. So if this sounds intriguing, definitely check it out on Audible. Usually Audible originals are like $5, so maybe go ahead and try it. I definitely loved it. And it was also a 5-star read for me. This book has 4,300 ratings on Goodreads, and the average rating was 3.32 stars. So a little less than Rock, but still pretty good. And I mean, I rated it a 5-star. So if my opinion means anything to you, check it out. This next one is also a 5-star, if you can sense a common theme, and that is going to be Wrecked. This book is self-proclaimed to be a mix of The Breakfast Club and Swiss Family Robinson. I am not an expert on either of those, so I can't tell you if that's true or not, but I did really love this book. So this book is about 2 families going on a cruise together, and both families have both a daughter and a son. And the cruise ship inevitably ends up wrecking, and the daughter and the son of each family are stuck together on a deserted island. At least they think it's deserted. And so it's just a really fun story of these 4 teens kind of navigating how to survive on this island. And it battles with life and death, loving and hating, and kind of all the things you would expect for teenagers being stuck on an island together. The Breakfast Club element comes into it because, you know, the 2 boys are a jock and a nerd, and the females are considered, one of them's a beauty queen, the other one's a mouse. And so just this dynamic of completely different people being stuck together on this island and kind of their adventures with that. It's really cute. And it is a book that wraps up nicely. It's not a mystery. There's not going to be a plot twist. It is for younger audiences, so the writing's very simple, but if you kind of want a little bit of a guilty pleasure read with also like a little bit of tame action in it and a little bit of smut, it's not that bad, but a little bit. This is a really good book. Of course, like I said, I rated it 5 stars. I loved this. I read it so fast, and I immediately bought the second one after reading this one. It was just so good. But not a lot of people know about it. I don't even remember how we came across it, but highly recommend. And then the stats for this one, there is about 2,700 reviews on Goodreads, and it is a 3.75 average star rating, which is pretty good. So I definitely think you should check it out if this sounds interesting to you. The next book that I'm going to talk about is #FashionVictim. And this one was another book that I got through Book of the Month. This one I only rated 3 stars, but I thought I would still recommend it because it is pretty interesting and it does follow with the books that I normally do kind of read, which is like the thriller horror-y. This book is said to kind of mash up Devil Wears Prada with Heathers. And so the story is about a fashion editor named Anya St. Clair, and she is just kind of a bad bitch, lets nobody stand in her way. She's on the rise, she is working hard and just striving for the best. However, the girl that sits next to her, her name is Sarah, and Sarah is basically everything Anya wants to be, but has to work hard for. Sarah is fashionable, she's beautiful, everyone loves her, she's rich, she was just like meant to be in the fashion world. So Anya has a little bit of an obsession with Sarah and really wants to be her best friend. Well, when Sarah gets the promotion that Anya wanted, you know, Anya decides she can't be my best friend, I'll just become her. And that's kind of where the story goes from there. And you can kind of tell by where everything's going in the title, #FashionVictim. And I didn't love it. It wasn't the best kind of murdery thriller I've ever read, but it definitely is a cool book. And I do love Devil Wears Prada, so this was kind of a fun take on that. No one is absolutely obsessed with this book that I can tell from Goodreads, but people do kind of like the Dexter or Heather vibes that it gives. And it's also just a really entertaining dark comedy in a sense. It is so just overkill that you can't just like help laughing and being like, what the heck? Has around 2,000 ratings, and the average rating for that is 3.3 stars. So if you really want to read a murderish Devil Wears Prada, check out this book. The next book I'm going to be talking about is The Savages. And this book is so cute. And you don't think you would associate cannibals with cute, but I did. This book is about the daughter. Her name is Sasha Savage. And Sasha falls in love with this boy named Jack, who unfortunately is a vegetarian. And so Sasha has to battle with the fact that her family are cannibals. And so this is a story about her little love interest and kind of family dynamics. And also when a detective starts to get suspicious about what's going on, everything starts to kind of unravel. This is a really fun read that is definitely meant for a younger audience. It is a very sweet take on cannibals. So once again, it's kind of more of a comedy of horror. But because of that, in my opinion, it really stands out from anything that I've read before. But because it is young adult and it's not too exciting, this book's not going to blow you away. It's not going to become your favorite book. But it is definitely a fun, short, comedic, little dark read. It only has 951 ratings on Goodreads, and the average star rating is 3.72 stars, which is lower than the 4 stars that I gave it, but pretty close. So if you want to do that, check it out. And the last book I'm going to be talking about is Sick House by Jeff Strand. I have read a lot from Jeff Strand, so this is just one of his books. I'm going to be doing a whole video on him next week. He is a horror author that is severely underrated in my opinion, and he has a ton of books and they're all included in Kindle Unlimited, which is great. So if you have that subscription, definitely go check him out, and I'll be talking about some of the books that I love by him next week. But this is just one example. This book is about a family who moves into this house, and they know it's not a perfect house, but they only need to rent it for a year. So they say screw it. But as soon as they move in with their 2 daughters, they realize that this place is not great. They start to get violent coughs, they get headaches, they bring their groceries in and food begins to rot like as soon as they put it down. One of their pet spiders goes missing, the house starts to rot. There's just all these strange things that are happening. And then the ghosts arrive, and that's just kind of where the story takes off. And so this is about this family who can't get out of the house. House is kind of working against them, the ghosts are working against them, and it's just kind of their journey of trying to leave. Like I said, I really love Jeff Strand's books, and this one was not an exception. I rated it 4 stars. It's really interesting. I've never really read kind of a haunted house book like this where the house also is working against them. And so that was a little fun twist on kind of a haunted house theme. It is pretty spooky, especially with the ghosts involved in it, but it's definitely not one of the most terrifying books I've ever read. But it is a really great story, and you can definitely tell, you know, Jeff Strand's little kind of sick and crazy mind in there. But in short, if you are looking for a quick read with a haunted house, a little bit of ghosts, this is definitely your go-to. And like I said, Kindle Unlimited, check it out. And for the stats for this one, it has also around 950 ratings on Goodreads with an average star rating of 3.76 stars. So pretty good. Like I said, most of the books that I reviewed today are pretty high for Goodreads books. So yeah, there is, in those 7 books, hopefully a book for everyone. They all are pretty simple writing, not too difficult, mostly geared a little bit towards younger audiences. I mean, some of the content is definitely not for younger audiences, but I would classify the writing as for younger audiences, which is something I usually appreciate. I don't love too verbose or like flowery writing, especially when I'm reading horror. Like, just get to it. I don't want to have to think about it. So with these books, they're all just easy, quick reads, hopefully keep you a little bit busy during your quarantine, and hopefully expose you to new authors or new stories that you wouldn't have thought of trying before. And like I said, I have a bunch of new ideas for videos coming out soon. Like I said, the Jeff Strand video and just different types of books. So make sure to subscribe so you can see when my content comes out. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has supported me, commented, watched, subscribed. You all are the best, and I will see you all soon.